He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
How about Nancy Bellicosi? Nancy Stretch Bellicosi. You heard it here? Pass it down through the ages. I'm Mark Levin. Our number 877-381-3811. 877-381-3811. Okay. You know why I call her Stretch, because it's obvious. A little pinch here, a little pinch there. Pull that back there. Oh, look at my eyes. They look so much better, but why am I... Anyway, Nancy Stretch Bellicosi. Bellicosi. Dictionary. Demonstrating aggression and willingness to fight. Belligerent, hostile, threatening, pugnacious, truculent, confrontational, quarrelsome, disputatious, contentious, militant, combative. Nancy Bellicosi. Now, I could do Belligosi. You know who that was, Mr. Producer? You have to look that one up. But Nancy Bellicosi, from now on. Nancy Stretch Bellicosi. Take it, Mr. President. You can take the Bellicosi if you like. Stretch sticks with me. You know, we do a lot of research for this program, and then all of a sudden it splatters against the wall. And that's because Nancy Bellicosi goes to the microphone. And by the way, they can mock Trump all they want. At least he knows how to talk in complete sentences. Nancy Bellicosi, I mean, she sounds like Katharine Hepburn in her worst days. I mean, it's just So Nancy Stretch Bellicosi at a press conference today. Cut 7, go.
But the president again stormed out. I think first.
All right, stop. He didn't pound the table. He didn't storm out. That didn't happen. There were actually witnesses there. Nancy Bellicosi is also Nancy Screwicosi in the head. Something's not right. But anyway, go ahead.
We'll walk out the door. What? Next time, have the TV cameras in there while I have my say. That didn't work for him either.
Does she sound coherent to you, ladies and gentlemen? Maybe she's on medical marijuana or something. You think, Mr. Producer? I don't know, but she sounds to me like Joe Biden, quite frankly. Go ahead.
This time, another temper tantrum.
So you see the game, oh, here's a temper tantrum, he's unstable, seems to me he's running circles around these people while they try to destroy him. Seems to me she's the one having a fit and a near-nervous breakdown. How else do you explain the twitting? She reminds me of the commander. You ever see those Pink Panther movies? And the commander or the sergeant of the police force? How he starts twitching? Inspector Clouseau. No, but he's upset of it. Inspector Clouseau, right? And he starts tweeting all over that. His eyes are going. He's getting there. That's who she is. Go ahead.
Again, I pray for the President of the United States. I wish that his family or his administration or his staff would have an intervention for the good of the country.
What an idiot. I asked for presidential intervention. Gee, that wasn't contrived, was it, ladies and gentlemen? I don't think so. Do you? No, I don't. Nancy's not smart enough to do that off the top of her head. But she continues, Careko.
And then that's up to his family and his.
Aren't you something? Aren't you special? And then intervention, and that's up to his family. She sounds like Buddy Hackett. That's what it is. Let's find an old audio of Buddy Hackett. I know I'm putting you on the spot, Mr. Bennett. Let's see how fast you are. We'll work on an old audio of Buddy Hackett, and you tell me if she doesn't sound like Buddy Hackett. Nancy Bellicosi. Go ahead.
And then that's up to his family and his in his cabinet and his staff in the White House. This is not behavior that is rises to the dignity of the office of president.
No, that Representative Steve Hill bringing fried chicken into the House committee room and putting that at the chair and the table and sitting there and eating it. That's great behavior. Or Omar or Talib, two bigots and anti-Semites. Now that's great. Oh, you got Buddy Hackett? You're good.
Okay, this guy is hunting for ducks. He's not the farmer, right, and he's not the animal. The duck is the animal.
All right.
Sound like him, right?
Bang! Shoots a duck. The duck falls. A lot of you people want to conserve ducks, and you worried it's only a joke. The duck didn't really die.
All right. Now let's hear her.
But having said that,
am I right? Doesn't she sound like Buddy Hackett? So Nancy Bellicosi is the Buddy Hackett of politics. Yes, he is. He's Buddy Hackett of politics. Go ahead.
I actually ardently pray for the president because we need...
Oh, shut up. You don't pray at all. What are you talking about? Party of infanticide. She prays a bus will hit the president. We all know this. Go ahead.
Sometimes when we're talking to him, he agrees. And then I said one time, who's in charge here? Because you agree, and then all of a sudden something changes. What goes on?
Oh, kind of like you on the border. Your position changed. Like that, maybe you need an intervention. Go ahead.
Who's in charge? And he says he's in charge, and I suspect that he may
Listen to these ramblings of hers. You know what else? How about Professor Irwin Corey? Maybe she sounds like Professor Irwin Corey, I'm starting to think. It's a toss. See if you can find him, would you? She's kind of a toss between Buddy Hackett and Professor Irwin Corey, who we'll find in a minute. Go ahead.
And I suspect he may be even more since yesterday, because I don't think that any responsible assistant to the President of the United States would have advised him to do what he did yesterday.
You see, ladies and gentlemen, she's trying to convince you that there's something wrong with the president and he needs an intervention. She's praying for his health, his mental health, as her dentures are slipping out of her mouth. She's put together with screws and glue and toothpaste. And, yes, and I just hope that his staff wouldn't permit this. Somebody's got to help us with this. Something's not right. Now, here's Professor Irwin Corey. Go ahead.
As is customary, we generally have a question period, and there were some questions that were asked me. Here is a question. Professor, why do you wear tennis shoes? Well, that's a two-part question. First, you ask why. Well, why has been plaguing man since time immemorial?
That's it? I love this guy. You got to find more than that.
Statesmen, philosophers, educators, teachers, scientists have been asking the ultimate why. And in these few moments allocated me, it would be ludicrous on my part, for the sake of brevity, to delve into the ultimate why. Do I wear sneakers? Yes! And so I feel that we must appreciate not only understanding, but as Joachim Ben Zakkai once said, remember, wherever you go, there you are.
And where's Buddy Hackett again? Now that's Professor Irwin Corey. Give me Buddy Hackett again.
And you conservationists, I'm sure you're all pure vegetarian.
There you
and
go.
don't
So
eat meat.
she's kind of a cross between Professor Irwin Corey and Buddy Hackett. Now let's listen to her some more. Go ahead.
Would you be prepared to do something differently for the pragmatism of getting more done, to not use phrases like cover up or to not perhaps provoke him? Would you be open to that?
Well, you have bought into his excuse.
No,
that was not a reason that he did that yesterday. That was an excuse for him to do that. And with all due respect to your question...
Oh, she's mad at this reporter. I thought I had you all in my back pocket. And this Kelly O'Donnell, NBC News, you're not supposed to be asking questions like that. No, Kelly. Yes, Kelly, you're not supposed to be asking questions like that. Do you know who I'm the Speaker of the House? Speaker. You know who else she sounds like? Daffy Duck. Anyway, go ahead.
Intend not to honor my oath of office, nor do my colleagues in the House of Representatives to honor our oath of office to protect and defend the Constitution.
Well, you're doing a hell of a job of protecting and defending the Constitution. I think all of the constitutionalists out there would have to agree that these subpoenas, I'll tell you what, they are certainly upholding the Constitution. And the interests of the House, of the Democrats, in getting to the bottom of the true Russia scandal, oh, they're really upholding the Constitution. And the way they are smearing the Attorney General, oh, they're upholding the Constitution. And her colleagues in the Senate, the way they went after Kavanaugh, man, they're upholding the Constitution, aren't they? I don't know about you, but when it comes to left-wing radical crackpots like Nancy Pelosi, I always think, wow, they're upholding the Constitution. She's upholding we have a constitutional crisis. No, we have a constipational crisis with these people. Go ahead.
It's a separation of power in it. Yes. And again, it's a question of the American people understanding that what he is doing is an assault on the Constitution of
Well, we understand the Constitution better than you do, Nancy Pelosi. We understand the Constitution very well. You said the other day that the president was obstructing justice. If you weren't the speaker and didn't deserve respect and weren't treated as the honor, I would say you're an ignoramus. Because you can't obstruct justice. It's not a criminal investigation. You'd be obstructing Congress. But who knows? These are little details. Go ahead.
We can walk and chew gum at the same time. I hope you can, too.
Whoa.
This, sir, is an investigated fabrication.
There you go. Go ahead. Sounds like her.
Wabbit season. Duck season. Wabbit season. Duck season. Wabbit season.
All right, didn't she just say we can walk and chew dung at the same time? You want to play that again? I think she said we can walk and chew gum at the same time. I'm pretty sure she said that, and I believe she can walk and chew dung at the same time. I believe she's capable of that, Nancy Pelosi. Go ahead and play it.
Assault on the Constitution of the United States. We can walk and chew gum at the same time.
Caught her. Yes, I did. Caught her. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Since its founding in 1844, Hillsdale College has provided students with sound learning of the kind essential to preserving our civil and religious liberty. Now, I want to tell you about Imprimis, the free monthly speech digest of Hillsdale College. Imprimis is dedicated to educating citizens and promoting civil and religious liberty by covering important cultural, economic, political, and educational issues. First published in 1972, Imprimis is one of America's most widely read publications in support of liberty, with more subscribers, 3.9 million, than the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times. And recent Imprimis publications have addressed issues like free speech, the regulation of big tech, mental illness, and the American medical insurance system. And because America's founding principles are so important, Hillsdale offers Imprimis absolutely free of charge to anyone who requests it. That's right, you can subscribe to Imprimis for free. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to visit imprimis.hillsdale.edu for your free subscription. That's Imprimis, IMPRIMIS.hillsdale.edu. Welcome to Hillsdale.
We can walk and chew gum.
We can walk and chew dung gum. Who eats dung gum, Mr. Producer? Apparently that's a big thing in the Democrat caucus. We can walk and chew dung gum. Can you play that again?
We can walk and chew gum.
Dung gum. That sounds very unhealthy to me. But I want to congratulate Nancy Pelosi. What we have done now, we have added her to our mumbler list. Let's take a listen. Go ahead.
What are the kandidateforeningen i det ghost track?
They have an it costs they just gave them
with the withdraw bringing U.S. home troops from home
and the
you need somebody.
Wait,
Finally, what?
And budget.
But resist, we must, and we will much about that be committed.
I'm a warrior.
That it was. Did Ted?
I mean, they said that.
Look, the was it him?
Why? I didn't. If we,
we can walk and chew gum.
All Democrats of one sort or another. But Nancy Pelosi wasn't done. You know, Nancy, I might give you some advice. Maybe there can be an intervention by me to help you. And I do this for the country, of course. Nancy, maybe you should stop accusing people of criminal conduct who haven't committed crimes. Maybe you should stop trying to get into their bank records and their financial records and their tax returns. You're the Svengali behind the scenes. We all know this. That's you. You're responsible for this. And Nancy Bellicosi, why won't you and your husband, Paul Bellicosi, release your tax returns and your bank records and your financial records? And I'll keep asking. But Nancy Bellicosi wasn't done, ladies and gentlemen. Which cut am I on, sir? Cut 10, go.
The White House is just crying out for impeachment. That's why he flipped yesterday.
Now, this is part of their strategy. So if they decide to pursue impeachment, they'll say, well, we're doing what the president wanted. She thinks you're so stupid. She thinks you're part of their base. Not part of her base in San Francisco. No. We're much smarter than that. They're so used to talking down to their voters. When they talk to us, they need to talk up to our voters. They need to look up at us because we're smarter than them. Go ahead.
He was hoping, because he was, somehow or other, you all have a story that isn't real. I mean, you want to believe that there's all this unease in our caucus. That simply isn't the truth.
No, they all are dancing like the Rockettes in the caucus room. Dancing like Rockettes. May I say that? I think I will. They're all on the same page with Tlaib and Omar and Ayah. They're all on the same page. Radical crackpots. Go ahead.
Respect for the diversity of opinion in our caucus.
Oh, the diversity of opinion. That's like the diversity of opinion in the early Politburo after the Russian Revolution between Lenin and Trotsky and Stalin and that ilk. It's not really a diversity of opinion. You're sort of nuanced, you know. Go ahead.
Our diversity is our strength. Our unity is our power. And we have unity.
Excuse me. What did she go to a Chinese restaurant yesterday and have a couple of fortune cookies and crack them open? Say, ooh, diversity is our power and unity is our whatever? Wow. May I have some more orange sherbet, please? I'll be right back. Folks, many of our nation's oldest colleges were founded to teach students to seek truth, recognize what's beautiful, and hold up what is good. But sadly, many have lost their way. Locked in the grip of political correctness, they no longer allow free and open discourse, and instead peddle their moral and cultural relativism. Thankfully, there's Hillsdale College. Since its founding in 1844, Hillsdale has remained true to its original mission, to provide sound learning of the kind essential to preserving civil and religious liberty and intelligent piety. And as Hillsdale enters its 175th year, their goal is simple and yet profound: to help students understand what is noblest and best in yourself and the world. Hillsdale College's liberal arts education and vibrant campus community help students form a foundation for the rest of their lives, a truly life-defining experience. So if you're looking for a college that prizes learning and values intellectual enthusiasm, where everyone shares a strong sense of meaning and purpose, welcome to Hillsdale College. Please visit hillsdale.edu/admissions to plan a visit and learn more. That's hillsdale.edu/admissions.
The new American Revolution starts here. The Mark Levin Show. Call in at 877-381-3811.
Now, I'm not done with Nancy Bellicosi. This is just too good. But have you noticed all these reports, now measles and all these diseases? But whatever you say, it's not illegal aliens. It's not massive immigration from dirt poor countries. No. It's got to be the Orthodox Jews because they don't vaccinate. That's one thing I heard. No. It's got to be this movement in California. They don't vaccinate. It's another one I heard. But we have hundreds of thousands of people coming here from all over the world, particularly south of the border. They're not vaccinated. We don't. No. What are you, xenophobic? I don't even know what that means, xenophobic. It's a good word for scramble. Well, you're xenophobic. It can't be that. It can't be open borders and endless immigration. That we know. Well, why couldn't it be? People come in here illegally. That means they're not checked. We don't know what their health is. Some of them go right into hospitals. They're very ill. No. That can't be it. Because I listen to the news reporting. We got measles. We got all these diseases. It's like, didn't we deal with this like 50, 80 years ago and take care? Yes, but they're back. Why? Climate change. Oh, you didn't know. Ask Chuck Todd. The measles. Yes, climate change. Professor Nudnik there at the UN, he says, look, climate change is responsible for measles and whooping cough and all these other things. Really? Yes. Unbelievable what we're allowing to happen in this country. It really is. Unbelievable. And you're not allowed to talk about it. Of course, which I do. What are you trying to say, Mark? What do you mean, what am I trying to say? When you have dirt poor people escaping dirt poor countries, coming into our country, unchecked. I think we call it a caravan. Oh, it's a caravan. It's not an invasion. I know this because Jim Acosta told us this. It's a caravan coming into the country. And we're not able to check the health of the people coming into the country. And they're coming from poor countries where there's all kinds of diseases and illnesses and everything. Let's see. Wouldn't logic tell you that might be a problem? No, of course not. These are future Democrat voters. One of the problems we have is we get politicians like Nancy Pelosi, who's been in Congress for about 112 years, and Chuck Schumer, same thing. Really low IQ, nasty people who are on a power trip. We get politicians like this because we don't have a true press that keeps them in check. And this is the truth. So the lower the press gets, the lower the politicians get, and the lower the politics gets. And that's part of the big problem today. And I want to tell you something. I'm not allowed to get into numbers. But you folks, Levinites, patriots, who care deeply about this country, who revere the Declaration and the Constitution, who revere the First Amendment and freedom of the press, you're doing what I knew you would do. An enormous number of you have already purchased a copy of Unfreedom of the Press because you're worried about the future of this country. And you want to spread the word like the early pamphleteers. Many, 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 many of you understand the import of Thomas Paine and his pamphlets. And that's you. You want to spread the word outside and around the usual media outlets. We need to speak at the dinner table. We need to speak to our friends at restaurants, at social events, churches, synagogue, wherever we are. And I'm going to help you do that. And I've been doing that. Using Unfreedom of the Press. There's more information about the press, the history, the ideology, their conduct, where they're coming from, facts, in this 250-page book than you will find anywhere else on the face of the earth. Certainly in a book. And the book's been highly praised by a number of really wonderful and serious people, including Cal Thomas, said it's the best book on the press he's ever read. And he would know. And it's despised by exactly the right people, the people who despise you. And you will be informed, and you will be the Thomas Paine of your family, of your community. It's very, very important. You can get the book on Amazon.com. You can order it and buy it from your local bookstore. That's always good, your independent local bookstore. The books are in Costco. I went in Costco today. Did we post that photo, Mr. Producer? Wasn't that amazing? I go into Costco to get, every week or two, to get a hot dog, quite frankly. I like their big kosher hot dogs. And a soda. It's still like $1.50 or $1.80. It's amazing. They lose money on that. So I figure Nadler will go in there. I figure we'll have a meeting of Fatties United. And by the way, I've decided to relinquish the chairmanship of Fatties United to Nadler. So now he's the chairman of FU. So in honor of FU, Mr. Nadler, it's all yours. FU. So I go into Costco, get my, let me look at the book stacks they have there. So I go over to the book stack, I go, holy mackerel. Stack of book. It's not very busy in that particular Costco in the middle of the day on a Thursday, I guess. And there were 2 stacks of my books there. One was a full stack, and the other one was about, 3/4 empty. And all the other ones are stacked up. You need to go on Mark Levin Show, Facebook, Mark Levin Show, Twitter. You'll see. So I said, I'm going to take a picture of this. Hope nobody recognizes me. It's going to look like a little goofy. But no, I took a quick picture. I should have signed them, probably. But I want to get a hot dog and move on, So I'm sending you this photo because it's incredible. All the other stacks of books, it doesn't look like anybody bought any. Maybe they bought 2 or 3. One of the stacks, of 2 stacks of my book, was really almost gone. You're going into Costco. You're going into Barnes & Noble. You're going into Books A Million. You're going into Walmart, Target, Sam's Club, BJ's. Somebody told me today it's in their grocery store. You're going into your local stores, we're hearing. And, of course, you're going on Amazon. And those of you who are commenting with the 5 stars, I can't thank you enough. You ought to look at the 1 stars. It's the usual lowlifes who go in there, haven't read the book, or trying to drag down the book. Look at the 5 stars if you have any question. And it's 40% off. It's a good discount there. So I just point that out to you. And I think you're going to be really, really pleased with the book. And I'm pleased when you are, because it takes me 12 to 14 months, sometimes longer, to write a book. And it was a very tough year writing this book, all the tragedy that occurred in the family. And there were zones where I couldn't write and zones where I did. But I was committed to getting this out. I just feel the country's at a point where we really need to push back. We really need to push back. This needs to be a movement now, a movement where we demand reformation of the press. That they don't get to just go on TV and lecture us and yell at us and talk down to us and call us names. That's our press. We don't own those companies, but it's our press. If they continue to act that way, they ought not be treated as the press. They are the modern mass media, different than a free press. And you're sending a message. You're sending a message by ordering this book. You're sending a message by citing this book, by reading this book, by discussing this book, by posting about this book. And that's the mission. That's the mission. They need to know that there's millions of you out there. There's millions of you out there. And we're smarter than they are. And we're more committed to this country than they are. And we're more committed to freedom of the press, by far, than they are. You'll be shocked at some of the stuff you read in this book. You'll also be well informed about history. But you'll know your instincts have been right. Now, some of you may not like to read books. This is a pretty easy read, quite frankly, but it's also out there in audio, just so you know. But it's a pretty easy read. Again, look at the 5-star comments on Amazon. I check them out. I'm harder on myself than anybody is on me when it comes to writing a book, when it comes to doing a radio show or TV show. I'm always thinking about, when I'm done this radio show, I used to call my dad and mom, they're not there. So I'll talk to my wife. I'll also think about it. Was that a good show? Did I handle it right? When you write a book, it's all out there. All the research, your writing style, words that you use, arguments you make. It's really quite a deal. And it's not the easiest thing for most people to do. It's not that it's easy for me. It's just something I feel that's very, very important to do. Anyway, you Thomas Paines out there, you Levinites, I want to thank you. Those of you who haven't done it yet, you can jump right in with all the rest of us. On Freedom of the Press, this weekend, many of you will be going to the big box stores, the warehouse stores. Maybe go to Barnes & Noble or Books A Million. Maybe you'll be doing some shopping at Walmart or Target. You can go online and get it the next day, or your local bookstore is a great place to buy a book and support them in any event. Take advantage of it. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Every human being has a common problem. How do I live well? Our happiness and well-being depends on how we answer that question. Hillsdale College President Larry Arnn argues that the best book ever written on this subject is Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics. And a new free online course from Hillsdale College shares Aristotle's teachings that will help you lead the most complete, happy life possible. Register for this free course, Introduction to Aristotle's Ethics, How to Lead a Good Life, featuring lessons from the greatest self-help book ever written at levinforhillsdale.com. In just 10 on-demand videos, each only 30 minutes long, you'll learn how to confront the chief obstacles to happiness and make the choices that build good character. Aristotle presents a guide for securing a virtuous life. And if you take this free course from Hillsdale and heed Aristotle's advice, your life will change for the better. You can learn how to lead a good life just as every Hillsdale College student does. It's yours for free at levinforhillsdale.com. That's Levin for Hillsdale.com. Mr. Producer, you went to BJ's today. Which BJ's?
BJ's in AOC's Yorktown Heights, New York.
And they have a big table of books, like Costco and everything, right?
Correct.
And how was the book doing there?
The book was non-existent. It was not there.
So they didn't even have the book?
No.
I wonder why that would be. That's kind of weird.
It's very odd.
Okay. Well, folks, if your store's not carrying the book, you might want to ask them why. I mean, right now it's, I believe, the hottest book in the country. I could be wrong about that. But that's kind of weird. And the weekend's coming. And I want to remind you that this Saturday will be the first book signing. This very Saturday, we're going to be coming to Ridgewood, New Jersey at Bookends. And the book signing will start at 1 p.m. And you can contact that store, Bookends, and pre-purchase your book so it can go faster, and then pop right in line, get earlier in line, and then come right for the signature. So if you live anywhere near northern Jersey, it's a beautiful little town, by the way. I very much like it. It's a wonderful bookstore. You might want to check it out. It's my first book signing on this book. So I want to remind you, it's Bookends this Saturday, May 25th, 1 p.m., Ridgewood, New Jersey. It's 211 East Ridgewood Avenue. It's probably better if you pre-purchase your book so you can get in there earlier and move it faster, and then for yourself. And of course, I'll sign it. If you just show up, we'll sign it anyway. You can buy it then and sign it. So that's not that's not the end of the world if you don't. Come one, come all. We want to see as many of you as possible. And so I decided this weekend that I would come up to Ridgewood, New Jersey. The next day, Sunday, May 26th, 1 p.m., we'll be going to Huntington, New York on Long Island. Another wonderful local bookstore called Book Review. And that's on 313 New York Avenue, Book Review, Long Island, Huntington, New York. May 26th, 1 p.m. My buddy Brian Kilmeade's going to be there, too. So that'll be a lot of fun. So those are the two big book signings, Saturday and Sunday. Now, Monday we won't be on the air, obviously. We'll do a best of yesterday's show, I think. And then the rest of the week, of course, we're here. And the following Saturday, not this one, the following one, get ready, Barnes & Noble, Tyson's Corner in McLean, Virginia. Now, I ought to tell you that the signing at Bookends and Book Review are sponsored in many ways by our friends at WABC. And our signing at Barnes & Noble in McLean, Virginia, Tyson's Corner, June 1st at 10 a.m., our buddies at WMAL. So we're going to have a lot of fun. Wonderful people show up. And you should, too. You think, well, I don't know. I'm going to go to the shore. It might be rain. Just come. And then go to the shore. Or do whatever you're going to do. But we'll have a lot of fun. I only do this every other year. And I don't do a lot of them. Sometimes you'll see these people who write books. I'm going to be in Florida. I'm going to be in Idaho. It goes on for like 8 months. You notice that, Mr. Producer? 8 months. And I'm going to do a show, stand on my head. Now wait till you see I'm going to spin on my foot. No. It's you and me. 4 book signings. That's it. And the Reagan Library sold out. So really there's 3 now. Bookends, Ridgewood, New Jersey, this Saturday, 1 p.m. I can't wait to see you folks. I really can't wait. Next day, Sunday the 26th, 1 p.m. Book Review, Huntington, New York. I can't wait. And I'll tell you about media, too. We're going to be doing Judge Janine on Saturday, Fox and Friends Sunday on Sunday, and my show. What am I supposed to do, Mr. Producer? It's going to have to wait. Commercial's going to have to wait till the next hour. Why? Because I blew it. That's why. All right. What's okay? And those we're posting them on Facebook and Twitter for those of you who care to come. I hope there's a lot of you. We're going to have a blast. I'm so excited about this. I really am. I think I'm more excited about this book than any book since Rescuing Sprite, really. And Liberty and Tyranny. I've been excited about all my books, don't get me wrong. They're all your children. But this one's so crucially important and timely on freedom of the press. Do I have time to take a call? All right, let's take a call here. Let's see. I'm working on it. Mr. Producer, give me a caller. XM Satellite, John, New Mexico. Go.
Mark, you remember the old movie Goldfinger?
Of course.
There was a lady in there that had a flying circus, but I think the new name for Nancy should be Pelosi Galore and her lying circus.
There you go. I kind of like mine, though.
I'm an old 76-year-old Marine, no longer on active duty, of course, but...
God bless you.
Retired.
I'll bet you're sick and tired of watching what's happening to the president in this country, aren't you, sir?
I sure am.
I'm with you. Thank you, John. You take care of yourselves. Las Cruces, New Mexico. Beautiful place. We got a lot more. We just got started. I hope you'll stick with us. I'll be right back.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, everybody. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. See, the problem the Democrats are having is the American people don't want impeachment. And the American people are sick of these investigations. But the Democrat base is not representative of the American people. They're irregular Americans. They're crackpots. Their base has been radicalized by the media. Quite frankly, by CNN and MSLSD and the New York Times and the rest of it. They won't take no for an answer. So they're trying to figure out. We've got our rabid base, and then we have other Americans. They're not sure to go with the rabid base or other Americans. So what they're trying to do is drive down the president's poll numbers. And if they can get them down to like 35, 33%, then they figure they have a shot at impeachment without it having backfired on them. But you see, ladies and gentlemen, what they're not taking into account is you. They listen to Mitt Romney. They listen to Justin Amash. They listen to they're not representative of you, the establishment, or whack jobs and so forth. Now, Donald Trump replied to Nancy Pelosi, and I'm not going to play all of it, but I'm going to play some of it because he has a right to respond to her. Cut 14, go.
Speaker Pelosi said today she hoped your family would conduct an intervention with you. What's your reaction to that?
No, I saw her read it perfectly, just the way she said it. It's very, very sort of a nasty type statement, but I will say this. She said I walked into the room right next door yesterday and walked in and started screaming and yelling. Just the opposite. Just the opposite. Because I know that they will always say that, even if it didn't happen, because this happened once before. I walked out, I was so calm. You all saw me minutes later. I was at a news conference. I was extremely calm. I was probably even more so in that room. So I walked into the cabinet room. You had the group, Crying Chuck, Crazy Nancy. I tell you what, I've been watching her, and I have been watching her for a long period of time. She's not the same person. She's lost it.
Mm-hmm. He's right about that. Cut 15, go.
These are bad people. You know, a lot of people say deep state. I don't say deep state. We have a lot of bad people, and I think they're being found out. I think right now I saw where Comey is blaming this one, and Brennan's blaming another one, and they're going against each other, and Clapper, I think yesterday, maybe is blaming President Obama. Oh, so surprised to see that happening. Got a lot of bad people. You got a lot of bad people, and it's a shame. But I said to everybody before I walked in, I said, I'm going to be very calm because I don't want them going out to the press and saying that I was anything but calm. So I was extremely calm, very much like I am right now. And it was sad when I watched Nancy all moving, the movement and the hands and the craziness. And I watched it. That's, by the way, a person that's got some problems. But when I watched that this morning, then I went over to Arlington National Cemetery for a very beautiful moment with the First Lady. But I watched that this morning, and that's just a narrative they want to put out. And I think it's pretty sad when they have to play that kind of narrative. I think it's a very sad thing for our country.
And then cut 16, go.
She says that you want to be impeached. Do you want to be impeached?
I don't think anybody wants to be impeached. But I'll tell you what. We went through 2 years of Bob Mueller with 18 people that hated Donald Trump. Many of them contributed to Hillary Clinton's campaign. One of them in particular, Weissman. 18 prosecutors, FBI agents all over the place, 500 interviews, 1,400 pages of documents that I gave. I didn't use presidential prerogatives or anything having to do with the powers of the presidency. I let everybody go up and speak, including the counsel, White House counsel. I let them speak for 30 hours, as they tell me, 32 hours. I never once said, I could have stopped him I should have said, no, I don't want White House counsel to speak. I don't want Sarah Huckabee to speak, who went up there also, I believe. Everybody. I didn't have to let any of them go. Now, maybe I would have lost in court. I doubt it. Everyone tells me I had the total power to have that stopped. With all of that, after 2 years, no collusion, and findings that strongly led a great attorney general to be able to rule no obstruction.
It's all true. This whole thing is a scam. The whole thing's been a scam from day one, pushed by the Democrats, Russian collusion. And I told you I was on Shannon Bream's show last night, and as I explained to her and the audience, and I told you a few hours earlier, these Obama judges are really off their rockers. Absolutely off their rockers with these subpoenas and so forth. And I'm glad to see Alan Dershowitz agrees with me. He has a piece in The Hill. He says, when I came of age during the 1950s, liberals and civil libertarians were deeply concerned about the abuses of congressional investigations. Now, keep in mind, I don't agree with them on all this, but I want you to listen. to expose communists and fellow travelers. Republican Senator Joseph McCarthy was using congressional committees to do his dirty work. And he goes on later. My law professor, mentor, and friend at the time, Telford Taylor, the chief prosecutor at the Nuremberg war crimes trials after World War II, wrote a masterful critique of these bogus congressional hearings entitled Grand Inquest. In it, he provided an extensive history of the misuse of hearings for partisan and ideological purposes. He called for reform, including judicial oversight of congressional excesses. A young liberal lawyer named Abner Mikva, who later became a distinguished federal judge, wrote a glowing review of the book, though he criticized Taylor for not going far enough and not being enough of a true civil libertarian. It's quite fair to say that back in the day, virtually all liberals and civil libertarians, led by the ACLU, wanted to impose restrictions on the power of Congress to investigate, subpoena, and question individuals for partisan or ideological purposes. Now the shoe's on the other foot. It's the Democrats who are abusing their congressional investigations for partisan and ideological purposes. It's the Democrats who are putting forward the phony arguments about legislative purposes, such as the need for new laws and congressional oversight. It's the Democrats in the House who are determined to misuse their legislative power to gain advantages in the upcoming elections. And now it's the Republicans who are crying foul. This is the thing he does, in order to explain his own history and past, that he's always been on the correct side. I look past that, at least in this article. And then he hits the point. The decision by Judge Amit Mehta to authorize broad congressional investigations of the Trump administration and President Trump himself, going back to well before he was a presidential candidate, could easily have been written, he says, by a right-wing judge in the 1950s. Can't help himself. But it swallows whole hog the claimed legitimate legislative purposes put forward by those committees now led by the Democrats. But it goes even further and suggests that a court has no power to probe the real motives behind legislative investigations, so long as the claimed motives are plausible. Under this decision that goes against civil liberties, Congress could investigate any person for any reason, as long as it pretends to be doing so for a legitimate legislative purpose. The decision is an open invitation for abuse of power. And, of course, even Dershowitz can't bring himself to say this is an Obama appointee. And I told you the same thing the other day. This judge, you got a judge in D.C., a judge in New York, Obama appointees are absolutely activists of the worst kind. They are Democrats first and judges second. No, Congress doesn't have the right to oversee everything. No, Congress doesn't have the power to subpoena everything. Whether it's a citizen or whether it's another branch of government, Congress is one of three branches. The House is half of one branch. If the House is right, if these judges are right, you will never have an independent presidency again, because they will subpoena away for anything and everything they want and just claim that they have a legislative purpose. And that'll be good enough. That's the precedence that's being set here. Truly the destruction of the separation of powers, where they want to force the President of the United States to report to the House of Representatives. This is one of the reasons I strongly disagree with people who say that you can indict a sitting president. I used to take that position. But even before Donald Trump was president of the United States, I'd say sometime about 5 or 6 years ago, when people were talking about indicting Obama, I said no. Why is that? Why is that? We have 93 U.S. attorneys. We have thousands and thousands of assistant United States attorneys. You can indict a sitting president. Can you imagine what would be done? Is the notion that all prosecutors, like Mr. Mueller and Weissman and the rest of them in that office, are noble? They're not going to be political? Is that what happened when 900 former federal liberal prosecutors wrote a letter and said, well, we would have prosecuted them? No. That's too much power in the hands of individuals who don't have to stand for election or not to be held accountable. This has already been a constitutional farce and an injustice, an unimaginable injustice. The appointment of Robert Mueller in the first place was defective. It didn't meet the regulatory requirements. There was no criminal basis whatsoever. His report, the way he wrote it, what he said in his report, an abomination. That was not the intention of the regulation. What's being done now, these phony subpoenas into the president's private life, basically, his businesses, his bank accounts, and so forth. And I want you to know something. Wells Fargo Bank and other banks are already turning information over to the House of Representatives. And let me tell you what I'm going to do. I read this today. Let me tell you what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm going to shut down my Wells Fargo account. I'm going to shut down my Wells Fargo account and put my money somewhere else. That's how you send a message. And I would encourage all of you to do the same thing. It's a pain in the ass. I know that. Excuse my French. But it is what it is. I'll probably have to do it next week since I'm busy this week. But nonetheless, it's going to get done. You want to know why, ladies and gentlemen? They didn't even put up a fight. And when I have my bank records at a bank that won't even put up a fight, when rabid Democrat mobsters in the House of Representatives want to see the president's bank account information, well, that's enough for me. I don't trust that bank. I don't trust that company to protect me. And they're such cowards, they won't even put up a fight. Those of you who believe in your own privacy of your bank accounts and your bank information, to watch this bank fold like a cheap tent in front of a congressional subpoena when they should have gone to court and fought it? Well, that sounds to me like they're anti-Trump. But more than that, they're anti their customers. Because if they're not going to protect our bank accounts from rabid mob Democrats in the House of Representatives, then I'm moving along. I'm moving my money. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Hiring used to be hard. Multiple job sites, stacks of resumes, a confusing review process. But today, hiring can be easy. And you only have to go to one place to get it done. ZipRecruiter.com/Levin. Levin. ZipRecruiter sends your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards, but they don't stop there. With their powerful matching technology, ZipRecruiter scans thousands of resumes to find people with the right experience and invites them to apply to your job. ZipRecruiter is so effective that 4 out of 5 of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. And right now, my listeners, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/Levin, Levin. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Levin, ZipRecruiter.com/Levin. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. The same media, the same Democrats who are dragging us through this mess as they continue to push their agenda. I want to remind you, before too much time passes, for all the years Donald Trump has been president, as I write in Unfreedom of the Press, the mass media have been fixated on a storyline that had no basis in fact. That Donald Trump colluded with the Russians during the 2016 presidential race to defeat Hillary Clinton. To this day, and after all this time, despite congressional, criminal, and media investigations, there is nothing but Democratic Party press innuendo, supposition, and dissembling. In addition to Special Counsel Robert Mueller's declaration of no collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia, on February 7, 2019, Senator Richard Burr, chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, told CBS News that if we write a report based upon the facts that we have, then we don't have anything that would suggest there was collusion by the Trump campaign and Russia. It merits emphasizing that the supposed plot was in fact launched by the Hillary Clinton campaign and the Democratic National Committee. It would be the same people and the same operatives who are involved now in trying to drag down the President of the United States. They've just moved on to the next phase. And they had assistance from the Obama FBI and the Department of Justice. In short, as the Federalists explained, Perkins Coie, an international law firm, was directed by both the Democratic National Committee and Hillary Clinton's campaign to retain Fusion GPS in April of 2016 to dig up dirt on then-candidate Donald Trump. Fusion GPS then hired Christopher Steele, a former British spy, to compile a dossier of allegations that Trump and his campaign actively colluded with the Russian government during the 2016 campaign. The Democrats, Hillary Clinton, the Obama administration, a cabal, pushed a lie on the American people. Though many of the claims in the dossier have been directly refuted, none of the dossier's allegations of collusion had ever been independently verified. In the Hill's John Solomon discovered that dossier was provided to the FBI by at least 6 different people with connections to the Hillary Clinton campaign. And information from the dossier, along with a news story planted by Steele with Yahoo reporter Michael Isikoff, was used by the FBI and the Department of Justice to expand a counterintelligence investigation aimed at the Trump campaign and businesses and to secure successive surveillance warrants from the FISA court. Just remember how this began. Remember how this began. So committed to this plot had been the media that they actually played an active role in these investigations. John Solomon points out. Fired FBI official Peter Strzok and his alleged paramour, former FBI lawyer Lisa Page, texted frequently about leaks in the media affecting their cases and even suggested the FBI was behind some of them. FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe was fired for lying about one media leak he authorized. FBI secured a FISA warrant against Trump campaign advisor Page based on another media leak. And it goes on and on and on. The media have aided and abetted this from day one. And yet they claim that they represent freedom of the press. They are destroying freedom of the press. I'll be right back.
When living in constant pain, finding a remedy is like looking for the Holy Grail. But not anymore. Cryo-Freeze Roll-On, developed by Omax Health, is triple action pain relief, and it's available at omaxhealth.com. And use code MARK. Most over-the-counter pain relievers only focus on one basic cooling effect, like menthol, which temporarily takes your mind off the pain for about an hour. The secret behind the best-selling Cryo-Freeze Pain Relief Roll-On is its 2 ingredients, CBD and menthol for its cooling sensation. You won't find anything like this over the counter. If you're an athlete or someone who lives with constant joint pain, back pain, muscle soreness, or arthritis, try Cryo-Freeze. Simply roll it over where it hurts and ice out the pain with an Arctic blast. The effects are immediate. Throw it in your gym bag, purse, or briefcase and have it at your fingertips. Cryo-Freeze Pain Relief Roll-On is available at omaxhealth.com and enter code MARK. That's omaxhealth.com and enter code MARK to get 20% off Cryo-Freeze and site-wide. But don't just take my word for it. Go read all of the 5-star reviews to see how Cryo-Freeze came to the rescue for so many people. They tried everything and finally found the Holy Grail. Visit omaxhealth.com. Enter code MARK to get 20% off. You'll thank me later.
The Mark Levin Show, the pool feed for the conservative media. Dive in now. 877-381-3811.
NBC News first reported that Wells Fargo turned over a few thousand documents to Maxine Waters' committee, and she's already told you over and over again that she wanted to impeach the president, so that you know the purpose of that. And TD Bank provided a handful. I don't have any money in TD Bank. But I'm hoping all of you Levinites out there, all of you who believe in the rule of law and the Constitution, seriously consider moving your bank account from Wells Fargo. And you should go into the general manager and you should say, look, I'm going to tell you something. Your executives decided to turn over the president's private bank information to Maxine Waters and the Democrats on her committee. I don't trust you to protect my bank accounts from anybody. If you're going to do that to the President of the United States, imagine what you're going to do to little old me, Mr. and Mrs. Citizen. I'm quite serious about this. And so we'll be shutting down our Wells Fargo account. Again, it's a pain in the neck, but I'm still going to do it. This is how you operate at the grassroots. This is what the left does. And so, if millions of you take your funds out of Wells Fargo and put them someplace else, you'll be sending a message to other banks to fight. To fight to protect your private bank records. Then I'd like to talk about, there's a federal law from 1924 that requires the IRS to turn over tax returns. That's a joke. There's no law that requires a bank to turn over the president's documents, thousands of documents, to a committee. Just because Congress issues a subpoena doesn't mean it should be honored. There are illegitimate subpoenas, too. But Wells Fargo chose not to fight it. I assume it's for political reasons. TD Bank provided a handful of documents. I don't know what to make of that. Personally, I don't want any bank to turn over any of my documents to anybody, let alone politicians in Congress, let alone Maxine Waters, a reprobate. So I hope you'll join me in this. It's not a campaign. I'm not leading a boycott. I'm just saying this is what Wells Fargo's doing. I'm pulling my money out, and you ought to do the same thing. And tell them why. You can say it's not even a Trump thing, although I have to say you're giving the president's records to Maxine Waters. It said, I want my privacy protected. Well, if we ever get a subpoena on you, no, I expect you to fight it. This is an abuse of power, ladies and gentlemen, by these committees. And they're setting a precedent where if Congress wants bank records from a United States citizen, Congress will be able to get it. How do I know? Because that's basically what the Obama judge said. He said what Congress wants, Congress gets. I never heard of such a jackass ruling in my life. That's not how it works. What Congress wants, Congress gets. Is that what the Constitution says? No, that's what an Obama judge said. So there they, let's get them. That means they've been collecting these documents for a while and they couldn't push them out fast enough. I mean, the president's going to appeal this case, but it didn't matter to Wells Fargo. They turned over the records anyway. I don't want my money in a bank like this. I'm sick of these corporations that buckle like this. Press 1 for English, 2 for... I'm sick of it. That's their game. Then let them play in somebody else's backyard, not mine. Goodbye, Wells Fargo. Done. I don't know where to start. You'd think with hard evidence from Mueller that there was no collusion, that the Democrat Party media would have backed off. Nah, you and I know better than that. They're ideologues. They're never going to say it's over. It's never over for them. Well, we're ready to fight over at Levin TV and the Blaze TV network. If you've listened to my shows on Levin TV or on Fox or behind this microphone for any length of time, you know I'm unapologetically pro-Constitution, pro-conservative values, and pro-America. I've always told you what I'm about. I break down the stories. We talk about philosophy, economics, history, and we bring them all together, which is where they belong. The media are furious at what we're doing over at Levin TV. The media are furious what I'm doing with unfreedom of the press. They don't much like me. And I don't much like them. So where does this end? It ends when you say enough is enough. Come check us out on Levin TV by going to the Blaze TV network. Right now you can get a full 30 days to watch every show on the network absolutely free, including Levin TV. And if you decide to stick with us and use promo code Levin, Levin, you'll get a full year for less than $8 a month. Start your free trial now. You can go to blazetv.com. That's blazetv.com, or you can use our toll-free number, and our folks are there. Call 844-LEVIN-TV. That's 844-LEVIN-TV. All right. Did I play any of the president yet, Mr. Producer? I think I did, right? What did I play? Which cut? Well, I cut him off? All right, let's go. Did I cut off 16? Sorry, folks. Let's go to 17. This is the president today. Go.
Sir, the Constitution says treason is punishable by death. You've accused your adversaries of treason. Who specifically are you accusing of treason?
Well, let me help the reporter. First of all, the president's not involved in the prosecution or the sentencing, dimwit. Somebody could be guilty of treason and not put to death. But these are clever reporters with stupid questions. Go ahead.
Well, I think a number of people, and I think what you look is that they have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person. If you look at Comey, if you look at McCabe, if you look at probably people higher than that, if you look at Strzok, if you look at his lover, Lisa Page, his wonderful lover, the two lovers, they talked openly. You know, they didn't use their private server because they didn't want to get caught, so they used the government server. That was not a good move. He talked about the insurance policy just in case crooked Hillary loses, and that didn't work out too well for them. So you look at them, they want an insurance policy so that should she, for any reason, lose, remember, 100 million to 1. Maybe he said 100 million to nothing. But should she lose, we'll have an insurance policy and we'll get this guy out of office. And that's what they said, and that's what they meant. That's treason. That's treason. They couldn't win the election, and that's what happened. And that's what's happening right now, because without the treason word, I guess, but that's what's happening now. They don't feel they can win the election.
Let me just stop. I find it amazing, the press, as he calls the press the enemy of the people. He calls people treasonous. I want to ask you, ladies and gentlemen, given what the press has done to us for the last 2.5 years and what the press is doing now, given the makeup of CNN and MSNBC, given the history of the New York Times, the Holocaust-denying New York Times and the Washington Post, is the press the friends of the people? When the mass modern media is destroying freedom of the press, what is it? What is it? They're not the free press. They're the modern mass media. If they were the free press, they wouldn't conduct themselves this way. There's no diversity of thought, no independent thinking, no real news going on here. It's all about hits and ratings and all the rest. You and I are going to exercise freedom of the press. Freedom of the press doesn't mean you have to own a cable company or a radio company or any other company. You know what freedom of the press is? You know what they meant by that? You. Exercising your free speech. Today we would say exercising your free speech through broadcasting, such as radio or TV, but also exercising your free speech through the written word, the pamphleteers. That's what they were thinking about, newspapers and pamphleteers. People developing their own newspapers and their own pamphlets. Citizen communicating with citizen. Citizen grassroots activities. We've allowed this modern mass media to come between you and me and to come between facts and fiction. We need to fix this. And in order to fix it, we need to talk about it. There's no 10-point plan for fixing this. That's not how we function. The more people who fully comprehend the problem and are helped with our new pamphlet on freedom of the press, the book, the more ideas that will develop. They'll develop in somebody's home. They'll develop in somebody's community. We'll get new technologies, new platforms, new ideas. In the meantime, CNN is stuck with CNN. I wouldn't want to be in that position, would you? The Washington Post is stuck with the Washington Post and on down the line. Their business models are in trouble. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Because in order to have a truly free press, there needs to be truly serious competition. And those that have a different agenda, however they dress it up, those who have a different agenda should die on the vine. I don't understand how the New York Times has survived this long, given its repulsive history during the Holocaust and the slaughter of the Ukrainians. No other business would have survived. Now, these people in the media, You would think after 2.5 years they might look in the mirror, but you'd be wrong. Because they're ideologues, because they have participated in this activism on behalf of the left. I said it the other day, where was I, on Shannon Bream's show? Maybe on this show. Well, the shows are coming together. Maybe both. Can you think of a single leak to the New York Times or the Washington Post that has been helpful to, positive about the President of the United States? I can't. Can you think of a single story? Maybe there's one somewhere that has been positive about the President. Conversely, can you think of a single story that has been critical of Nancy Pelosi or asked for her tax returns or her bank accounts or has done any kind of investigative examination of her? Can you think of one? How about her children, the way Trump's children have been treated? We don't even know the names of her children. Look at the Joe Biden situation. Joe Biden's been in government almost 50 years. They have nothing to ask him. He's changed positions, some very radical positions he held and still holds. Serious financial questions about his son, Hunter, and whether or not his father, Joe, interfered in a positive way to assist his... I mean, these are out there. They're not being covered. And when Rudy Giuliani dared to talk about them, he was shouted down. Now, this isn't a free press. This isn't a serious press. These are press spokesmen, press activists for the Democrat Party and the progressive movement. That's what they are. So we need to communicate among ourselves. We need to take a look at what's going on in our country. We need to go around and over and under this impediment to freedom of the press. And we have to start using the language and stop allowing them to intimidate us by saying, well, you must hate free press. No, we love the free press. We have a problem with you. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
So-called historian Douglas Brinkley, who's on cable right now, pushing his book on the American moonshot. When he's on MSNBC and CNN, he says the most loathsome things about the President of the United States. So he'll come on Fox and present himself as this straight-arrow historian. He goes on those other channels. He says loathsome things. I have a whole list of the things that they've been attacking the President on and what they call him in the book. He's one of the ones. I just want to point that out, how this works. Doesn't get past me. I can see the fastball. Now, whether you've got a 5-mile commute or you're road tripping across the country, you want to feel secure behind the wheel. It's a big car. That's a lot of pounds. And that's why you need extended vehicle protection from CarShield. CarShield makes the process of fixing your car for a covered repair super easy. You can have your favorite mechanic or dealership do the work. It's your choice. If your car has 5,000 to 150,000 miles, it doesn't mean you have to pay high repair bills. CarShield administrators have paid out close to $2 billion in claims, and they're ready to help you. Save yourself thousands in future car repairs. Get covered by the ultimate in extended vehicle protection like I did. Call their new toll-free number, 800-CAR-6000, 800-CAR-6000, and mention code Levin, or visit carshield.com on the internet, and use code Levin, and you'll save 10% either way. That's 800-CAR-6000, mention code Levin, or visit carshield.com, use code Levin to save 10%. A deductible may apply. This is an outstanding vehicle protection plan, and CarShield is an outstanding company that makes good on its promise. 800-CAR-6000. Mention code Levin. Chuck Todd on MSLSD yesterday. He's got Michael Steele, the former head of the Republican Party, who's a complete sellout. It's amazing what money will do. Let's hear this. Cut 5, and he's complaining that Republicans are not calling for the ouster of Donald Trump. Go.
Michael Steele, I do feel as if careful
Trump has it in his head that this is just that he could basically do what Clinton did. And I know he has this in his head. But everybody else is going along with this? Like, careful catching this car. He's begging for this impeachment, thinking, and it's like, really?
So let's stop there. So he repeats exactly what Nancy Pelosi says, that the president's begging for impeachment. He said today, no, he's not. And he's not. Who would? Nobody wants to go through that. So Chuck Todd is manufacturing news. Chuck Todd is a journalist, you see. He's a Democrat background. His wife is a Democrat activist. He has shown no evidence of nonpartisanship. I don't care how many clown Republicans he puts on his program. But he's saying exactly the same thing Jake Tapper said the day before. Where are all the Republicans? Why aren't they trying to get, rally, the mob? Why aren't they calling for the lynching of Donald Trump? How come all of we journalists and Democrats can see this? How come all of our paid Republicans can see this? And how come, of course, crackpot Amash can see this and the great Mitt Romney? Where are all the other Republicans? They want to go down with the ship too? Now, does that sound like a reporter to you? Does that sound like a reporter to you? Or a Democratic consultant? Go ahead.
It's only Justin Amash. But Mitt Romney's going to have an open mind. Like, what are you doing? It seems like you're playing with matches near a gas tank.
See that? See, you Republicans are playing with matches near a gas tank. What's wrong with you? Help us take down your president, please. Now, are they going to take advice from Chuck Todd, a Democrat? Destroy whatever is left of the Republican base and beyond the base. Do something that is absolutely unjust. Take out a sitting president who's done nothing wrong and who was duly elected under our Constitution, to throw him with Maxine Waters and Gerald Nadler? That's what Todd is insisting on. And he has a buffoon by the name of Michael Steele who will be bobbing his head up and down. Go ahead.
But there's a great deal of distance between the match and the gas tank at this point. For now. And the calculation is that the Democrats aren't going to be able to get them any closer than they are at the moment. And it kind of plays into what we were just talking about. What is that narrative? What is that coalescing narrative behind which Democrats are going to go to the American people and make the case for impeachment that doesn't come off wholly political and wholly sort of anti-Trumpian? And that's the sweet spot that Trump is in right now, knowing that his Republicans aren't going to read.
But I understand that, but what's in a Republican, and I'm going to have one on John Kennedy. I mean, my God, if
all right, that's enough. I'll be right back.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, everybody. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811. 877-381-3811. BBC News, Iraq's Christians are close to extinction. How can that be? Christians are almost non-existent in the Middle East. There are entities in the Middle East that want Jews to be non-existent in the Middle East. How did this happen? The first religion there was Judaism, the next was Christianity, and the third was Islam. The Archbishop of Erbil, the capital of Iraqi Kurdistan, has accused Britain's Christian leaders of failing to do enough in defense of the vanishing Christian community in Iraq. In an impassioned address in London, the Right Reverend Bashar Warda said Iraq's Christians now faced extinction after 1,400 years of persecution. Since the U.S.-led invasion toppled the regime of Saddam Hussein in 2003, he said, the Christian community had dwindled by 83%, from 1.5 million to just 250,000. Christianity in Iraq, he said, one of the oldest churches, if not the oldest church in the world, is perilously close to extinction. Those of us who remain must be ready to face martyrdom, meaning they're getting slaughtered, they're getting wiped out. He referred to the current pressing threat from Islamic State jihadists as a final existential struggle, following the group's initial assault in 2014 that displaced more than 125,000 Christians from their historic homelands. Have you heard this anywhere else? Why isn't this blaring news on TV? I mean, it's just unbelievable. Genocide doesn't seem to matter anymore. Didn't matter to the New York Times back during the Third Reich, but it doesn't seem to matter to many outfits at all right now. Our tormentors confiscated our present, he said, while seeking to wipe out our history and destroy our future. In Iraq, there is no redress for those who have lost properties, homes, and businesses. Tens of thousands of Christians have nothing to show for their life's work, for generations of work, in places where their families have lived maybe for thousands of years. ISIS, known as in the Arab world as Daesh, was driven from its last stronghold in Syria in March after a massive multinational military campaign. Before that, it had already been expelled from Iraq's second city of Mosul in July 2017. But churches, monasteries, and homes belonging to Christian families have been decimated, and thousands of families have not returned. And this week, the Archbishop warned of what he said were a growing number of extremist groups that asserted that the killing of Christians and Yazidis helped to spread Islam. And the Archbishop went on to accuse Britain's Christian leaders of political correctness over the issue. He called the failure to condemn extremism a cancer, saying they were not speaking out loudly enough for fear of being accused of Islamophobia. Gee, don't we know? Will you continue to condone this never-ending organized persecution against us, he said? When the next wave of violence begins to hit us, will anyone on your campuses hold demonstrations and carry signs that say we are all Christians? Philip Mountestephen, who chairs the Independent Review, in the Foreign Office's response to the persecution of Christians worldwide, said, I think the Archbishop is right, that a culture of political correctness has prevented Western voices from speaking out about the persecution of Christians. I think, though, this is mainly due to a reluctance born of post-colonial guilt. Now, is the New York Times covering this, or are they taking another pass? I'm just curious. How about the Washington Post? How about all those news anchors on CNN, particularly this Chris Cuomo? He's a troll. Do you know that, Mr. Producer? Chris Cuomo. I used to think the governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, was the dumbest. I'm now convinced Chris Cuomo is the dumbest. Although he has the brightest teeth, I must say that. Good job there. Bishop Mountestephen maintains that Christian persecution needs to be viewed from a global perspective and has multiple causes. If we only consider it in the light of Islamic militancy, he said, we let a lot of other people off the hook who should otherwise be held to account. It's a horrible, horrible thing that's happening to Christians in Iraq and all over the Arab world. It's just a disgusting thing. I want you to hear from a gentleman. He's actually not a gentleman, who was giving a speech. I'm looking for the cut, Mr. Producer, at a university recently. Cut 18. And what he had to say, and part of this is wiped out for me. What is his name? Do you know? Stephen Thrasher. He's the graduation speaker at NYU's Convocation. And he's a professor. And I want you to listen to what he's saying at the Convocation, NYU's Convocation. Cut 18, go.
Many of us have been together at Occupy Wall Street and at Black Lives Matter protests and at marches against that fascist in the White House that would not allow 56 different countries to cross borders and be together in a setting like this. I hope you'll join the NYU 2019 PhD Facebook book group that I started so that we can support each other in the years to come. And I am so proud of NYU's chapters of Students for Justice in Palestine and Jewish Voices for Peace and of GSOC and of the NYU student government and of my colleagues in the Department of Social and Cultural Analysis for supporting the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement against the apartheid state government in Israel.
Tenured professor giving a convocation speech. Absolute radical nut job. This is what's going on our college campuses. You're a Jewish student. You're a conservative student. You're an evangelical student. You're in danger. You're in danger. What was this clown's name again? I can't see it on my paper here. Stephen Thrasher. Listen to the hate. You wonder why anti-Semitism is on the rise in this country? Anti-Christianity is on the rise in this country? You're hearing it. These are the propagandists that are called professors who get tenure. And you see, it's only their academic freedom that counts. Maybe my next book's going to be on the academy. I'm flirting with it, but, I'm too busy with this one because it's crucially important. Pretty shocking, isn't it? And then Ilhan Omar takes to the floor of the House of Representatives to open her big, bigoted mouth to attack Christians and Orthodox Jews and others who oppose abortion. I thought many Muslims did. Cut 19, go.
Religious fundamentalists are currently trying to manipulate state laws in order to impose their beliefs on an entire society.
Excuse me? So when a state passes a law, they're trying to impose their beliefs on an entire society? That's not how it works, knucklehead. You must be confusing these states with the activists on the Supreme Court. But go ahead.
All with complete disregard for voices and the rights of American women.
Really? Some American women support what's being done. Many American women support what's being done in these states, as a matter of fact. And you know who supports it the most but can't be heard? The female babies. Oh, yes. Go ahead.
Recent efforts like those...
Shut up, you idiot. I don't even know why the hell I'm playing you. I don't even know why I'm putting you on the air. You're a left-wing throwback. That's exactly what you are. A Jew hater, anti-Semite. You bring that cultural rot into this country? You refuse to assimilate into our culture? That's what I mean, Philip Bump over there at the Washington Post. That's what I mean, Annalisa Quinn over there at NPR and all the rest of you clowns. You like this? I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
I want to listen to this commencement speaker, this professor again, and then I want to tell you more about this guy. Cut 18, go.
Many of us have been together at Occupy Wall Street and at Black Lives Matter protests and at marches against that fascist in the White House that would not allow 56 different countries to cross borders and be together in a setting like this. I hope you'll join the NYU 2019 PhD Facebook group that I started so that we can support each other in the years to come. And I am so proud of NYU's chapters of Students for Justice in Palestine and Jewish Voices for Peace, and of GSOC and of the NYU student government, and of my colleagues in the Department of Social and Cultural Analysis for supporting the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement against the apartheid.
So another Jew hater, anti-Semite bigot, on and on he goes, Trump hater, and of course no controversy, no police needed to protect him, nothing. And our friends over at the Free Beacon, they point out, in 2018, Northwestern University named Thrasher its inaugural Daniel H. Renberg Chair. And according to an announcement from Northwestern's Medill School of Journalism, Media, Integrated Marketing Communications, you wonder why the media are what the media are today? Thrasher will, quote, focus on social justice in reporting, with an emphasis on issues relevant to the LGBTQ community. This is what I keep explaining, and this is what I explain in my book. This is the new journalism, which is no journalism at all. This is radical, left-wing, progressive, ideologically driven propaganda. The guy is the chair. He gets a chair from Northwestern's Medill School of Journalism, Media, Integrated Marketing, Communication. I'm not done. A campus newspaper story following the announcement stated Thrasher hopes to, quote, establish programs and classes that examine media coverage of sexual and gender minorities. The Washington Free Beacon contacted Northwestern School for its views on Thrasher's comments about the BDS movement. It declined to comment. And during the convocation ceremony, Thrasher placed his political causes at the center of the university's mission. This is what we are called to do, he said. This is our NYU legacy, that we are connected in radical love. Now, Thrasher previously received his bachelor's degree in dramatic writing and film TV production from NYU. In the interim, I want you to listen to me, he worked as a journalist and at NBC Saturday Night Live. He worked as a journalist and at NBC Saturday Night Live. Exactly what I'm explaining in the book on freedom of the press. It's incredible, isn't it? Let's go to somebody who's actually sane. You know, this Attorney General Barr is so good. He's just so good. I could not be more proud of this man. And he's speaking at the American Law Institute the other day, and he said some very profound things. And since you're not going to hear this on TV, I want to play some of this for you tonight. No better than on this show where this stuff really matters to all of us, doesn't it? Cut one, go.
These days, clashes between Congress and the executive steal the headlines, as I know very well. But clashes between the judiciary and the political branches are also very weighty. And while the framers had concerns about the unelected judiciary encroaching on the prerogatives of the political branches, Hamilton promised in the Federalist 78 that the least democratic branch would also be the least dangerous branch because courts have, quote, no influence over either the sword or the purse, neither force nor will, but merely judgment. Today, that assurance doesn't instill much confidence. We have seen over time an expansion of judicial willingness to review executive action, and then combine that with the strategies of sophisticated public interest lawyers and the growing use of nationwide injunctions. And the legal community and the broader public should be more concerned, particularly about this trend of nationwide injunctions.
Where one federal district judge can reverse the president's decision or reverse even Congress and impose his or her will throughout the country. That's new. The aggressive nature of doing this is new. There's 700 or 800 of these judges. Cut two, go.
Two district judges in California and New York nevertheless issued nationwide injunctions against the rescission that is effectively requiring the government to reinstate the non-enforcement policy in DACA, notwithstanding the president's contrary exercise of his discretion. Appeals have been ongoing for nearly 2 years and a half, but the injunctions remain in place. This saga highlights a number of troubling consequences of the rise of nationwide injunctions. First, these injunctions have frustrated presidential policy for most of the president's term with no clear end in sight. We're more than halfway through the president's term, and the administration has not been able to rescind the signature immigration initiative of the previous administration, even though it rests entirely on executive discretion. The Justice Department has tried for more than a year to get the Supreme Court to review the lower court decisions ordering us to keep DACA in place, but the court has not granted any of those requests, and they languish on the conference docket. Unless the court acts quickly and decisively, we are unlikely to see a decision before mid-2020 at the earliest, that is right before the next election. It's hard to imagine a clearer example of the stakes of nationwide injunctions.
Cut 3, please.
Second, these injunctions have injected the courts into the political process. The first injunction from the Northern District of California came down on January 9th, 2018, in the middle of high-profile legislative discussions. Hours earlier that day, President Trump had allowed cameras into the cabinet room to broadcast his negotiations with bipartisan leaders from both houses of Congress over the DREAM Act, border security, and broader immigration reform. And most people at that point thought that all the pieces of a grand compromise were on the table, which would involve, on the one hand, concessions on the DREAM Act, and on the other, increased border security. But of course, once a district court forced the executive branch to maintain DACA nationwide for the indefinite future, the president lost virtually all the leverage in negotiations with congressional leaders who wanted him to maintain DACA nationwide.
All right, let's stop there. After the break, I'll explain it more, but DACA was not legislation. DACA is not in the Constitution. DACA was issued by the Secretary of DHS at the direction of the prior administration. So this administration should be able to reverse course. The Obama judges will not allow it. And they put in place a nationwide injunction. They did that in many of the president's actions with respect to immigration, with respect to the Environmental Protection Agency. These are the radical Obama judges coming out of law schools and other places who are abusing their power and undermining the rule of law.
Levin, Liberty's General Patton. Call into the Mark Levin Show now at 877-381-3811.
Since getting my X chair, I do love spending a lot of time in my office. I never realized how uncomfortable my office chair was until I sat in an X chair. Now I have 2 of them. Now I have the comfort and support my body needs, and because of that, I'm more productive than I ever imagined possible. By the way, you sit in a chair a long time, you can do damage to these discs in your lower back. I know I did to mine, lower left back. They call it the L5. I never had a back problem. Now I have a slight back problem. But these X chairs make a world of difference. And the X chair's secret is the Dynamic Variable Lumbar Support, or DVL. And this patented feature is what sets the X chair apart from every other office chair in the world. I was in I won't tell you which one of these supply stores, office stores, to get paper and to get some more ink for my printer. And I went by and looked at the chairs. I mean, there's just no match. There really isn't. These X chairs are just so comfortable. Ideal posture and support equals comfort. And when you're comfortable, the hours spent in the office honestly fly by. Now, switching to an X chair is the smartest business investments I've ever made. You need to feel the DVL difference for yourself. Now, when I was in the mothership, WABC, Mr. Producer, I sat in your X chair, didn't I? Very, very comfortable. I took it from him. X chair's on sale right now for $100 off. Just go to xchairlevin.com. That's xchairlevin.com, or give them a call, 1-844-XChair, 1-844-4XChair. Now, XChair comes with a 30-day, no questions asked guarantee of complete satisfaction, and you can finance your purchase for as little as $30 a month. So go to xchair.com right now, use code XWheels, and you'll receive a free set of the new X Wheels with your chair, too. That's xchairlevin.com or 1-844-4XChair. Perfect time to do it right now. Brent, Los Angeles, California, 870 The Answer, the great KRLA, where we are live and national. Go.
Hello, Mark. While Americans should be calling you the Great One, I think American Jews should be calling you Gadol Hador, the Great One of the generation.
Oh, boy. Thank you.
And I'm calling in.
Whatever happened to Denali?
Denali is good for Alaskans.
I'm just kidding you. Anyway, yes.
But I'm calling in because what you were talking about with Wells Fargo, I'm terrified by what I think is Wells Fargo's act of treason by happily donating Trump's bank records to the congressional corporate collectivist coup, and the many implications of this. I'm beginning to worry, how corrupt can our banking system be? Could it be as corrupt as the corporate Silicon dark empire?
And your point is they're now going to turn our data over to politicians? Now, stay with me, Brent. I want you to think about this, America. You get a subpoena from Congress, Wells Fargo does, and they've turned over thousands of pages of the president's personal, private banking information to Democrats on the House Finance Committee, chaired by Maxine Waters. Now, I want you to think about that. It's not the IRS. It's not any of these investigative agencies. You're turning it over to Congress. You're turning them over to politicians. And the bank didn't even wait for an appeal. And the bank didn't even resist. You're damn right I'm taking my money out of Wells Fargo. What the hell do I put? I mean, I might as well put it in my mattress. Go ahead, Brent.
Yeah, I'm seeing this as, is in parallel with Google and Facebook and Twitter.
I wouldn't overdo it. I mean, they each have their issues, and you're talking about a corporate conspiracy. That's not what happened here. These corporate executives sat in a boardroom. They weren't thinking about Google and Facebook. They didn't pick up the phone and call, Zuckerman or Zuckerberg or whatever his name is. This is on Wells Fargo.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's the same mindset of the leftists. If they're in Silicon Valley...
Okay, well, what does this get us? I'm telling you to be an activist right now. If you have money in Wells Fargo, take it the hell out.
And I'm also fearful that other banks might follow suit, like Bank of America.
They might.
Bank.
And guess what? Then we drop them, too. Yeah. There's a lot of banks out there. And I think if enough of us do this, these banks are going to get the message. Look... The president is an appendage of the House. The banking system's not an appendage of the House. Our taxes are not an appendage of the House. We have a rogue part of the government now. It's not the president. It's the House of Representatives and federal district judges. Let's be clear. There is tyranny afoot. There's tyranny afoot in the House of Representatives and in a number of these court chambers. Thank you for your call, sir. And where's the media? They love it. I read you a story about this decision. They don't even mention that these are Obama judges. Why not? Because they're acting like Obama judges. Right, Mr. Chief Justice? Wake the hell up! I'm the Chief Justice. Wake up! Not you, him. You're wide awake. I am too. Let's go to Esther in Brooklyn, New York, the great WABC. How are you, Esther?
I'm doing okay. I'm calling about the typhus outbreak in Los Angeles, the measles outbreak in Brooklyn and in Rockland County, and I forgot to mention to Mr. Call Screener, tuberculosis is up in New York State. Mm-hmm. Typhus outbreak is from illegal aliens in Los Angeles. Tuberculosis has been up for several years now. Under George Pataki, they actually used to post the TB rates per county in New York, and they stopped doing that.
Of course.
And the story with the measles was buried in a back page story a few years ago in an English language Israeli newspaper that I like to read. And the story of measles outbreak started in Israel, but nobody is pointing the fingers where they belong. Jihadists in West Bank and Gaza believe that the MMR shot causes sterility. So they're refusing to allow, the madrasas are going out and the imams are forbidding their followers from getting their kids the MMR shot. Well, that means these kids are carriers, and they grow up and they are circulating among the Jewish population in Israel. And people don't realize it. They come here, and that's how it's been spreading. Mm-hmm. There has been, thankfully, a very big push for free measles vaccines. They are giving them out. There's one particular community in Orange County which has, like, I think a 99.7% vaccination rate. And
all right, tell us about typhus.
This in Los Angeles is being spread. It's first of all, they're having a massive problem with public urination and defecation. It is spread by.
when the hell last time we had a typhus problem in this country?
Well, my father used to talk about it. He used to tell me stories when he was in Watcha Ghetto and in Buchenwald concentration camp.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right, my friend. I appreciate it, Esther. Thank you for your call. Let's see who else is out there, shall we? I think we shall. A lot of regular Americans calling. That's a good thing. Pete, San Diego, California, on the Mark Levin app. Go. Pete, go.
Mark.
Whoa. Yes, Pete, speak, please. We're running out of time.
I have to tell you, you gave me a personal thank you on my notes to you on Ed Meese, and I appreciate that so much.
Thank you, sir.
I wanted to say that this whole thing is a travesty, a mockery of a sham.
Which whole thing? Which one are we talking about?
I have to say that the Wells Fargo thing is, I manage financial portfolios for my clients, and I got them out of that a couple of years ago. They are a crap company, and I'm surprised that President Trump had anything in that company.
All right, I don't know all that, and I'm not going to go there because people have their own experiences with various companies, and I don't want to besmirch companies because of one experience or something like that. This is different, okay? This isn't about somebody's personal experience, a crap company. This is about a company that has decided that they are going to abandon the privacy of one of their customers, a big deal, a president, and give his private bank information to the Democrats, to the politicians in Congress, headed by Maxine Waters, this committee. And that Wells Fargo knows what they're going to do with this information. Therefore, I will no longer be a customer of Wells Fargo. Period. Thank you for your call, Pete. Dove, Long Island, New York, the great WABC. Go.
Hi, it's Phil from Long Island, Mark. Just I hope to see you Sunday, by the way.
Thank you.
Got your book already, and I'll probably buy another one in order to get it signed.
Thank you, sir.
The deal with Wells Fargo...
Spread the word, baby. Give one book to somebody else.
I'll give it to 10 people or 40 people, 100 people. The deal with Wells Fargo is that I believe they're being blackmailed by the Waters Committee because of the credit card fraud that the bank had committed, or people at the bank committed a couple of years ago, and they were called on the carpet to one of the Senate committees or the House committees. And I think they're being blackmailed, and I think they're under the gun, and they feel they have to release his information. That's what I think is going on. So,
well, I don't know that for a fact. Neither of us do, but I do know for a fact that they're coughing up thousands of pages of documents. And Dove, it doesn't matter to me what the reason is.
I know, but as a former banker, I can tell you, privacy of the customer's information is paramount, and this is an extreme injustice to this president, to anybody. And I can talk for hours about this. I know you don't have that kind of time, but again, I hope to see.
But I'm right to be disgusted by this, right?
I'm disgusted. We're all disgusted by this. This is terrible.
I mean, the members of Congress, they're turning it over to the Democrats, opposition research. Banks are going to do, all the walls are breaking down because they're after Trump. And notice how the media doesn't really dig into the banking rules, and they're supposed to keep their customers' information confident. You don't hear a damn thing about it, do you?
No, you don't. It's sad. It's very, very sad.
All right.
By the way,
yes.
one more point, if I can make one more
Yep.
point. I'll probably say it to you on Sunday, but, there was a speech given by JFK right after he was elected. It was called the Secret Society speech. He entitled it, The President versus the Press. It's on YouTube. I encourage you, if you haven't already
Well, that's fine, but the press loved him.
No, they loved him, but he went after them in a very romantic way, so to speak.
Well, FDR went after them, but they still loved him. Obama went after them, but they still loved him.
No, but it's an interesting thing to...
But you understand my point?
Absolutely.
They're not going to take down a president, even if they go after them, who they agree with.
I know.
All right. Look forward to seeing you. Thank you, my friend. We'll get to some of your other callers when we come back. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
AMAC, baby. 2020 will be the most important election in our lifetimes. Big issues are on the ballot: the border, Second Amendment, late-term abortion, freedom of speech and conscience, the Constitution itself. And the most expensive of them all will be health care. The left are pushing a plan called Medicaid for All. They want to take a program seniors paid into all their lives and open it to all comers, even the children of illegal aliens. It should be called Medicare for None, because seniors will be forced to get in line with people who've paid nothing into some government-run centralized program. It's wrong. It's unfair. It'll destroy the world's greatest engine of healthcare innovation. Where's the AARP on this? Well, why aren't they lobbying hard to stop this raiding of your Medicare? We know why. It's the same AARP that backed Obamacare. That's why I'm urging all of you to join AMAC right now. Because unlike the AARP, AMAC will fight hard against Medicare for All. That's why I'm a member. Become a member of AMAC.us. That's AMAC.us. The stakes have never been higher. Visit AMAC.us and join today. I'm quite serious. If you're 60 or older, take a look at this. AMAC.us and join today. I would say everybody should take a look at this. If you remember the AARP, why? They're not looking out for your best interest. And by the way, AMAC has great discounts, great bargains, great benefits, a great magazine. It really is a stellar organization, and it shares our belief system, our values, our principles. So join them now. AMAC.us. You can check out their site, AMAC.us. I'm a member, and I'm a proud member. All right, let's see here. Let's go to Ron, Chicago, Illinois, the great WLS country. How are you, sir?
Dr. Levin, thank you for taking my call.
You bet.
I pre-ordered your book. I can't thank you enough for turning me around into, not from being a liberal, but just from making me aware of the political climate. Thank you for everything. I have lost my son to the opioid epidemic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I just want you to know that you've really opened my eyes, and I can't thank you enough. Thank you.
I am so sorry, Ron. I'm so sorry.
But I am in your brigade. I will do anything to save my country. Anything.
You are a remarkable human being.
Thank you.
You're a remarkable human being, and God bless you, and my best to your family. Oh, good Lord. Can't think of anything worse, quite frankly. Let's go to Suzanne, Chicago, Illinois, also WLS country. How are you?
Hi. I have a question about your book on freedom of the press and...
On freedom of the press, yes.
Yes, and Planned Parenthood.
Mm-hmm.
Are you aware of any correlation there?
No.
Okay, because I heard you mentioned the Target store a couple of times as...
Man, what are you trying to get at? Let's get to it before we run out of time.
I could be wrong. If you can fact check, I thought that Target and Starbucks both finances Planned Parenthood.
I have no idea. But that has nothing to do with me encouraging you to embrace liberty and freedom of the press. I can't control these outlets. I don't know who Amazon funds. I don't know who Barnes & Noble funds. I don't know what Target funds. I don't know. I just can't do everything out of my basement. You understand?
I understand, great one.
All right. I do believe Planned Parenthood should be defunded. I don't understand it. They act like it's a part of the government. Planned Parenthood should be defunded. All the leftists that want to fund it, go at it. Problem is the leftists don't contribute even to their own charities, so they demand that we pay for everything. All right, Suzanne, I very much appreciate your call. Take care. You can go anywhere and get the book. Whatever you're comfortable with. Whatever you're comfortable with. And maybe your local bookstore. They're always good. I love local bookstores. John, quickly, San Francisco, California, the great KSFO. Go.
Hello, Mark. I have a question about executive action.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if the Republicans can immediately challenge an executive action to a friendly circuit court before the Democrats have a chance.
Well, you can't go into a circuit court. You got to go into a district court. And to answer your question, they need to get a lot better at it, don't they?
Yeah, is it possible?
Problem is, when Trump's president, you're not really suing Trump because we like his policies. You know, when Obama's president or somebody like him, that's a different issue. We salute our armed forces, police officers, firefighters, emergency personnel, Levinites. Go to Amazon.com, order your copy of Unfreedom of the Press. Go to Costco. They're all out there. We'll be back tomorrow night. See ya.